You are welcome to my channel, Mindset Academy, where we are told to reproduce the figure that is displayed at the right hand side of the screen using the principle of tangency. And the question goes like this. It says, the figure shows a design of a company logo. Draw the size, the given views showing clearly all construction lines used to determine the center of the arc and the elliptical shape ACB. Now, if you look at the diagram, you discover that the first thing you should do in this kind of question is that you should draw your horizontal line, right? You draw what? Your horizontal line. And this is what we have here. That is the horizontal line that we have. Now, the next thing we'll do is that you draw the center line, as in a vertical line this way. Draw it this way. You can see that this is the center here. That's it now. So from this center, if you look at the question, from here to the next point here is given to be 40. That is, and from here to the other point here is given to be what? 40. So from this point to the left is 40, and from this point to the right is also 40. So I'll just take my compass and I am going to measure 40 millimeter this way, from 0 to what? To 4, and that is 40. And I'm going to place it at the center point here, and I'm going to mark 40 to the left and 40 to the right. Right? So what I will just do next again is that I am going to project this point upward. Faint line first, and I'll project here too, upward, faint line first. Right? So this point you see here is this point here, and this point you see here is this point here. Now there's a wonderful thing happening at those 2 points. The radius of this outer circle with reference to this point here is given to be what? 30. And the radius of this outer circle here also, reference to this point, given as 30. So I'm going to measure radius of what? 30 on my meter rule. I'll measure radius of 30 on my meter rule from 0 to what? To 3 is 30. You can see that? And I'll place it at this point here. So on this point, I'll draw a circle using a faint line. You can see that? I'll draw a circle using a faint line. I'll come to the next point also. I'll draw another circle using a faint line. Now, if you look at this closely, these are the 2 circles we have here. Now, if you look at this arc that we have here, the arc has a radius of what? Of 30. And that arc is connecting these 2 circles, right? There's an arc here, as you can see in the diagram there. It's connected to this circle. And I told you, whenever the arc is going in, you're going to add the radiuses. And whenever it is going out, you're going to subtract the radiuses. Now, this arc here is going in. So what you're going to do now is that you start adding the radiuses. So if I'm considering this circle, it will be the radius of this circle, which is 30, plus the radius of this arc here, which is also what? 30. So 30 plus 30 is what? Is giving us 60. So I'm going to measure 60 on my meter rule. This is from here to here is 60, right? And I'm going to place it at this circle I'm considering, and I'm going to strike an arc this way. You can see that. Similarly, if I'm considering this circle also, the radius is 30, plus the radius of this arc also is 30, so I will add them. Now, when I measure the 30 also, which is the same thing, right, I'm still having 60, and I'll place it at this point also, and I'll strike an arc. Now, they are meeting at this point. This point you're seeing is this point my arrow is pointing to at the diagram. You can see that? Now, that point is where I'm going to place my compass. I'm going to place my compass in order to connect these 2 circles. So I need it to be what? tangential. Is that taking? I need it to be what? Tangential. So I'll just place it this way, and I'll have this. So I've taken it already. Now, this point you're seeing is that point I showed you on the what? On the screen. Now, the next thing I'm going to do now is that I am going to get this head here, the head, like it's called a spanner. I'll get the head of what? Of that spanner there, right? Now, if you look at this very well, we've already drawn our circle, which is 30, right? Now, the next thing is, if you look in here, we are told that it is hexagonal. And the distance between it, the diameter of it is given as what? 30. I will together now. This diameter from here to here is 30. I'll call it diameter there, and given to be what? Hexagonal. So what I'll do is, I'm going to take the radius of 15, which is the half of 30, right? I'll take 15 this way, and I'll place it at this point, this center point, which is the center point you're seeing on the screen, and I'm going to draw a circle this way, faint line. Now when I do that, now you can see that this shape you're seeing here, there's an angle of what? 15 degrees here between this vertical line and this line here. And this is the vertical line here. So I need an angle of 15 degrees with reference to this vertical line. So what I will do, I can construct it or I can use my protractor. If I use my protractor, I will ensure this point here will be on the same point as this point here, this way, you can see. And the 90, everything is well placed. You can see the 90 here. And at this point, let me rearrange that well. You can see that. And I'll measure the 15. So this is 90 to 80 is 10. So in between 100 and 110 is what? Is 15. So this is my 15 degree, right? Or you can simply do it this way also. You can put it this way. You can see that. So when you put it this way, you discover that this is 0, 10, and this is what? 15. Now I'll now take my meter rule and I'll draw my line to pass from this point I measure to pass through the center point this way. Now that means the angle between here and here is given to be what? 15 degree, right? Now, since we are told the diameter of this is given to be what? 30, so I'm going to measure half of it, which is given as what? 15, right? I'll measure half of it, which is given as what? As 15. So if I measure it 15 on my meter rule, this way, you can see that this is 15. And I'll place it at this point where the 15 degree strikes the circle. I'll place it this way, right? And I'm going to cut here. This is 1. From this same point also, I'll place it here. I'll cut here, which is what? 2. I'll come here also. I'll also cut here, which is what? 3. I'll do the same thing here. We're told this is what? Hexagonal, right? You can see that. Now what I'll do is, I'll join here, these points together. From here to here is from where you're seeing on the screen, my arrow is pointing to. And from here to here is also the same thing, right? You can see that. Then the next one is this, from here to here. But when I'm drawing it now, I'm going to draw it to the extent that I'm targeting from this point to this point, which is the next point here. So I'll target it to the extent that to pass through this point and touch the circumference of the circle, right? To touch what? The circumference of what? Of the circle. You can see that. Similarly here too, to the of this point, I'll place it this way to touch the circumference of what? Of the circle. You can see that. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start taking those points. So from this point here to this point here, I'm going to draw the circle. So let's do that. And and I'll do this too to this point. Let me just come here first of all. Now look at what is happening here now. This arc you're seeing here, right? The arc you're seeing here is given to be radius of what? 15. So I'm going to measure 15 on my meter rule. I'll measure 15 on my meter rule, 0 to 15 here. And I'll come at this center point. This is the center point you're seeing my arrow is pointing. Now let's draw a circle this way to touch here. Right? Now I know that from this point here, I'll draw this. I'll tick in this. And this, there's a line as you can see in the diagram that's joining this circle to this circle is tangential to it. So I'll just use my meter rule and I'm going to connect it this way from this point to somewhere around here to ensure that it is what? Tangential. You can see that. Then I will now thicken this way. You can see that. Now I'll close here up just like it's shown in the diagram this way. And also I'll now thicken here too, since I know where I'm ending from here to here. You can see. So I have virtually brought out this shape out here. Now the next thing I'll do is to draw the top here. Now if you discover that from this point here, which is on the same level as this point, up to this point here is given to be what? 108. Right? So from here is where my arrow is pointing. I'm going to measure 108. So using my meter rule, I'll place it this way and I'll measure 108. So from 0 to 10 is 100 and this is 108 here at this point here. You can see that. So now that 8, that's where my line, the major axis will be. The major axis that you're seeing on the ellipse, that is where it is going to be. So I'll just draw a faint line first of all here. You can see that. So at that point, what I'll simply do here now is, if you look at the arrow from here to here, we're told that it is an equilateral triangle, right? Look at the statement here. It says equilateral triangle sitting on the foci of the semi-ellipse. So this point here is this point here on my diagram, right? And we're told is what? It is an equilateral triangle. I will know there's a characteristic of an equilateral triangle. We have one of the characteristics of a equilateral triangle is that all the sides is equal and all the angles are equal. And what are the angles? Angle 60 degree. And we know that when I place my set square this way, right, I'm taking this base here, let me just use a faint line, as my reference point. So this is like my 0 degree. So when I place it, I'm starting from 0 upward. If I place it this way, right, if I'm starting from here, from the vertical here, this will be angle 30. You can see that. If I come here also, I place this way, this is another what? Angle 30. Because I'm taking my vertical point as my reference point. So this is 0, 30, and the horizontal here is 60. So it means that when you add 30 plus 30, the angle between here to this point here is given to be what? Angle what? Angle 60 degree. Alright? So that is an equilateral triangle. The angle, so it means that the angle between here and here also is 60 degree. The angle between here and here also is also what? 60 degree. Is that okay now? So what I'm going to do is, according to the diagram, this here is thickened. So I'm going to thicken it. And here also is also thickened. I'm going to thicken it. You can see that. And here also is thickened. I'm going to thicken it. So this is F1, focal point 1, and this is what? F2, focal point 2. And we are told the length of the major axis as shown here is given to be what? 140. So I'll take half of 140 to get the major axis. Half of 140 is given to be 70. So when I take 70 from here, I measure 0, right? 0 to 7 is 70. You can see that. And I'll place it here at the center. I'll mark towards the left and I'll mark towards what? The right. Is that taken? So that point here is my A, right? And here is what? Is my B. Now we are told that this curve you're seeing here is an ellipse, a semi-ellipse, that is half of an ellipse, right? So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to use to get the minor axis, because for you to construct an ellipse, you need what is called what? A minor and a major axis, right? So I need the minor. I've already gotten the major, which is A to B. So the minor will be from this center point here. Let me call it maybe center P here. From this point here, up here will give me my what? My minor. So how will I get my minor? Now, you take your compass, you place it in between the center and the what? And the, as in half of the major axis this way, right? And when you place it on the focal point here, you strike an arc here. And you come here also, you also strike an arc here. So that point it meets, that will be my point what? My point C. Are we good? And that means my minor axis there. Is that taken now? So minor axis. So what I want to do is I want to construct an ellipse. There are different methods at which you can construct your ellipse. You can use your minor, you can use your concentric method, right, or auxiliary method. And if you want to know how to do that, you can click on this link here. It will tell you how to use auxiliary method to construct your ellipse. You can use your rectangular method also to construct it, right? And if you want to know how to use rectangular method to construct an ellipse, you can also click on this link here also, right? And you can also use what is called your there are many methods you can use your approximate method, right? I can click on this link also in order to understand what approximate method in constructing ellipse is. Is that okay now? Now, but for the benefit of those watching the video, I'm going to be using focal point method, right, in order to construct what? The ellipse here. And if you want to know more about focal point method, you can also click on this link. Is that okay now? Now we'll proceed. And before we proceed here, you need to understand something. You need to like this video. You need to subscribe to this channel. And you also need to share the video. And if you have any question you want to ask, you can ask in the comment section. Now we'll proceed. Using focal point method here, right, you're going to divide between F1 and F2 into 8 equal parts. If you like, you can use 10 also, but for the benefit of the viewers here, I'm using 8. At any given radius, just draw an inclined line this way. You can see that faint line, and you take your compass this way, and you place it at any given radius, and you start marking. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 8 equal parts. Now you're going to take your instrument, right? You can take any of them that you want to take. So just for the benefit of those watching the video, you will join the last point here to this point here, right? And you just place it here this way, whatever instrument you want to use. Once you join them, take your other instrument, and I can just place it here this way. You can see that. Then I'll start moving. I'll move to the next point. I'll be having this. I'll move to the next point. I'll be having this. I'll move to the next point. I'll be having this. I'll move to the next point. I'll have this. I'll move to the next point. I'll have this. I'll move to the next point. I'll have this. I'll move to the next point. I'll have this. Right? What I just did, we call it line division method. We divided this line into 8 equal parts. And if you want to know more how to divide your line, you can also click on this link at the top right corner of the screen. It will take you to where you can divide your line. Now, I'll take this to be 4. This will be what? 3. This will be 2. This will be 1. This will be 3, 2, 1. Right? So with the help of my compass, I will take point A to 1. Right? I'll place it on the F1. I'll strike an arc up. And I'll come to the next point again. I'll take it on F2. I'll strike another arc up because it is symmetrical. Right? Then I'll now take from 1 to what? To B. Right? Take it from 1 to B. I'll place it at F1. I'll bisect here. I'll take it at F2. I'll bisect here. That point will be my point 1. Right? This point here will be my point 1. I'll come again from A to what? To 2. I'll place it on F1. I'll strike an arc. I'll place it on F2. I'll strike another arc. Then I'll come from 2 to what? To B. I'll place it on F1. I'll strike an arc. I'll place it on F2. I'm going to strike another arc. That point will be point 2 in both sides. I'll come again A to what? To 3. Right? I'll place it on the focal point. I'll strike an arc. I'll place it on the focal point 2. I'll strike another arc. Right? I'll come from 3 to B. Right? I'll come to F1 here. I'll strike an arc. I'll come to F2 here. I'll strike another arc. Right? So that is my point here. That is point 3, point 3. So I'll now use my French curve. Right? I'll use my French curve. And I'm going to join those points together. Look at how to use a French curve. At point B here, I will just ensure that it is passing through those points this way. You can see that. You can see that. Then I'll just draw. This is what we have. Right? And I'll turn it this way also. I'll place it here also. I'll do the same thing. Right? Ensure that it is going through all of them there. You can see that. Then I'll just move this way. Now, this is the elliptical shape that we have here. Now, the next thing is this arc that we have here. The arc is joining between A to this point. That this point and this point is joining, and they give us a radius of what? Of 90. Right? So I'm going to measure 90 on my meter rule. This is my meter rule here. I will measure 90 from 0 to what? To 9 is 90. Right? From 0 to 9 is 90. And I'll place it at this point here. I will strike an arc. Right? I'm going to strike an arc at this direction. Then I'll place it at this point here too. I'm going to strike another arc. So from where these two meet here, I'll place it here. I'll also do the same thing for here too. I'll strike an arc at this point. I'll also come here too. Or before that, let's just place it at this point first, where they meet, and I'll connect these two together. Start again. I'm going to connect this. So you're measuring 90. You can see that. That is for that aspect. But the next thing, I'll do the same thing too again. Measure 90. This is the 90. And I'll place it at this point. I'll strike an arc. I'll come to this point also. I'll check another arc. So they are meeting at this point here, right? So where they meet at this point, I'll come here, I'll do the same thing. Is that taken? You have to be very careful to this point. Then just take it that a little bit. So you can see that. Now the next thing I'll just do is I'll just complete this. I'll complete the 30 that we have here, just taking it. I've already taken it before, but just taking it once more again. So this is just from you to you. So now the next thing that I'll be doing here is this. The next thing we're doing here, I can just easily move from here and just complete that guy here. Right, just complete it. So let's move forward. Now we've done this. So what is remaining again? And this is what we actually have. We have successfully reproduced the figure that you can see at the right hand side of the screen. The next thing you have to do, which is very important, is to draw out the dimensioning. So let me just do that briefly. That is all. So if you have found the video helpful, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and also share the video. Thanks for watching.